what is up? We are back for our Halloween adventures on day 19 of October. Today I'm going to be doing a skeleton look, but at the same time I'm also going to be telling you a few ghostly tales that I've actually experienced myself. So I have a lot of ghost stories that I could tell, so I'm going to put this video and the next video together. Well, it's gonna be like a to be continued episode for next time. So today I'm just gonna start, I'm gonna do my makeup and tell you the story at the same time. So I'm a skeleton, so we gotta start out with some white face. Okay, so the story is, my house in Lincoln City is haunted. There are several people who have lived on the property that I am from, or that my most recent home is, and the background of the story is, back in the 60s, there was a lady named Mamie Mann, and whenever she was, I think, in her late 40s, her husband had died, and she was actually engaged to be married again, but her health was really bad, so she found out she was sick, and one night she laid out all of her insurance papers and all of her, like, her birth certificate, everything. She laid it out all on her bed. She had her pajamas on, she had her curlers in, and then she jumped in a well. And this was right across the street from my house in Lincoln City. So my grandma actually remembers this happening. She's lived in Lincoln City for most of her life. And I think she even knew Mamie Mann, the lady that died. So Mamie is buried in the Lincoln City Cemetery. It's actually really creepy up there, but that is just some background. So years later, my family owned the property, and we had a rental home on the property there. So we rented it out to a Native American lady, and whenever she first walked in, she said, "Oh, there's a restless spirit here." Now I just want to say, like, this is for if you don't believe in ghosts, that's fine. You don't have to believe in ghosts. Like, I didn't believe in ghosts until I started living through some of this stuff. So just bear with me, whether you believe in ghosts or not. I mean, it is October, so ghost stories are just kind of fun to tell during this time of year, right? So anyway, the Native American lady noticed something right away about the place that she was about to be renting, but it didn't stop her from renting it. She still liked it. She still needed a place to stay with her husband. Well, as time went on, she started getting some disturbances. She would feel like something touching her feet, and she thought it was her husband, and then he wouldn't be there. And she ended up telling us that the spirit that was there was a female spirit that had a little bit of odd feelings toward men, and she said that it was a kind spirit, but restless. So moving forward, after she moved out of the property that she was living on, we had a family move in. It was a man and his girlfriend and her son, I believe. And then also later in my life, I became friends with that man's daughter, which is where I heard these ghost stories that I'm about to tell you. So my friend, whose dad was living there, she would only go and visit every so often. She told me that when she would be there, the little boy would tell her stories, and she never believed him. Then one morning he said, "Who was that lady that was in bed with you last night?" And she was like, "What are you talking about? There was no lady in bed with me." She said that this kid, I mean, he was like a 5 or 6 year old, so he was, you know, it's hard to believe little kids sometimes. But then he said, yes, there was. She was wearing a pink dress, like a nightgown, basically, is how he described it. And she had curlers in her hair, is how he described it. I don't know his exact words because I wasn't there. My friend didn't know exactly the history of Mamie, and that she had jumped into a well with curlers in her hair, in her nightgown. So whenever we shared stories later, it ended up being surprising to both of us. And yeah, it was pretty interesting to hear her side. She also said that the ghost did not like her dad, and that again follows the trend of the ghost having weird feelings toward men. So anyway, years later, many years actually later, my family moved into that property. We moved a whole new house onto the property, but it was still, you know, the same property that had, you know, happenings, occurrences. So, I mean, like I said, I never believed in ghosts before I lived in this house. Like, it was just kind of like, oh, that was a coincidence, you know? Like, I would have fun messing around saying ghost stuff happened, but I never truly believed in ghosts. So, one day, my family was away. My mom, my dad, myself. My brother was the only person that was at home. This looks like a really messed up mustache right now. So anyway, back to the story. My brother heard footsteps outside. He was just sitting inside watching a movie on our computer. We didn't even have a TV at that time. It was when we were very first moving into our house. So he was watching a movie on the computer, and he heard footsteps on the back porch, and the motion activated light turned on. So his initial reaction to that happening was, oh shoot, the cows got out. We live on a farm, so the cows did get out a couple times. So he heard the footsteps outside, and he went to check to see if the cows were out, because if that were the case, then he needed to somehow figure out a way to get them back in before they ventured away from the farm. So he walked over quietly to the door, opened the door, and there was nothing there. And that, to me, is when he let something into our house. That was whenever things started occurring. The very next day, his school picture went missing. We have not found it to this day. That was probably 7, 8 years ago. His school picture went missing. It was on the counter. We never found it. But, you know, that's something that, you know, you might say could be explained. It's just a coincidence. So none of us really thought much of it until later. Kenton said multiple times he thought something was going on. He would mention it every so often, like, there's ghosts in this house, something's happening, da-da-da-da. Then, I didn't believe it until I moved my room to the basement. Actually, some stuff happened in my room upstairs, but I still, like, I blamed it on other things. I thought maybe I had been sleepwalking and moved my stuff around, or like my mom had done it. I asked my mom, she said she hadn't done it. I honestly thought, maybe I've been sleepwalking, and I even told my friends, maybe I've been sleepwalking lately. But moving forward, I moved my room to the basement, and I started to get really weird things happen to me while I was living in the basement. So when I moved into the basement, I started to hear weird noises at night. One time I thought I saw a figure standing next to my bed, and in my sleepy state, I thought to myself, it's just a shadow, nothing else. Then whenever I woke up, I realized I don't have any light source in my room. My room has no windows. I hate sleeping with lights on. I literally sleep in pitch darkness. So how could it have been a shadow? Later, and this is still occurring, later I started to get knocks on my bedroom door late at night. Not quite midnight though. It was like, honestly, it would be me on my phone, chilling on my phone, like texting whenever I wasn't supposed to, or scrolling through Instagram, looking at Pinterest, whatever, whenever I was supposed to be sleeping, because this was back in high school. And then I would get 3 knocks, like, on my door. Just 3 loud knocks. And every single time it would be like right after 11 o'clock, because I had just been looking at my phone, and then I would put it away and I would close my eyes. I would just lay there so that, like, I wouldn't get in trouble. Like, maybe if my dad walked in my room, he wouldn't, like, get mad at me for being on my phone, or like whatever. Because my mom can't make it down the stairs because she had an injury. If you're watching this and you know me, then you know what that is, but if not, like, I'll tell that another time. So anyway, continuing on, that happened a lot. And sometimes I would even, like, I would get a knock on the door, and then I would hear something, like, move in my room, and I thought, like, oh, I have a mouse in my room or something. And then, like, also a couple times I heard my door, I swear, it was early in the morning, I heard my door open, and I heard footsteps come across my room. This happened twice. I heard footsteps come across my room, and I felt pressure on the bed next to me, and I thought it was my boyfriend at the time coming over after, like, football practice during the summer, because I lived, like, less than a mile away from the high school. So he sat, or I felt, like, pressure next to me on the bed. I reach out, nothing there. 2 times that happened. And still, like, yeah, it was creepy, but I didn't entirely believe that anything was happening. So now, after a while, I asked my dad, like, Dad, have you been, like, knocking on my door? Or Kenton, have you been knocking on my door at night, like, to freak me out or whatever? And they're both like, no, we haven't done that. Why would we do that? Stuff like that. So Kenton suggested that we excuse me. Kenton suggested that we set up a motion-activated camera right outside my bedroom door so that we could see if anything was happening at night. Well, that is where things get interesting. So we set up a motion-activated infrared camera. It's like a deer cam. So anytime something moves, it captures the movement in the darkness. We set up the camera, and it showed me going to bed at 9 o'clock. I got done with swim practice. I was exhausted. I come in my house, in my room, close the door. That's what it showed. It showed me walking down the steps to my room, and then it showed me closing my door, because I close my door every single night before I go to sleep. At 11:07, my door is standing wide open. That was the next movement that was caught on the camera, was my door standing wide open. So that was creepy. And then at like 2 o'clock in the morning, perfectly closed again. I don't understand how that happened. It's creepy. It wasn't me. It wasn't anyone in my family, because if it had been someone in my family, the motion activated camera would have caught them on camera. So it was something that we couldn't see. So that was probably the peak. No, it wasn't quite the peak actually, but that was when we all realized that something is going on in our house. And there's more stories to be told, but I'm gonna go put my costume on now. So, actually no, I'm not done with this. I wanted to say I'm trying a new mascara today. It's Artistry. It is the New York City edition. So, lash boosting 3-in-1 mascara. I've never tried it before, but yeah, here's what it looks like, and I'm gonna let you guys know what I think of it. You can't even really hardly tell that I have mascara on, because I have black makeup all over my eyes, but it is a pretty nice mascara. I can't say that I noticed like a huge difference. Also, this is not sponsored or anything. Like, that would be super awesome if it were sponsored, because like I'm just starting out YouTubing and stuff. But no, it's not sponsored. I just wanted to test this out and let you guys know how I liked it. And I also can get you guys a link if you want to buy it. But yeah, it honestly, like, it looks good. But I honestly like don't know. I've told you before, I don't know much about makeup, so there's that. And also, what was I gonna say? Oh, apparently this Artistry is organic and it's made in Italy. So that is something that attracts me, is organic makeup. But other than that, I don't know much about makeup. So I'll have to use this again another time whenever I don't have black all over, so that we can actually see some results. But yeah, so here is the skeleton makeup for today. And like I said, I'm gonna go put my costume on really quick, so be right back. Okay, so continuing on with the white color scheme of October, I wanted to go ahead and add a little bit more to this look. I decided to do like an off-the-shoulder white shirt so that I could add some makeup to the lower part of my neck, right here. Because, I don't know, it just like, wow, you can't hardly even see it. Okay, so there's that. And then I wanted to do like maybe some black. Okay, so it just added a little bit of like accent and detail. So yeah, here's the look. There's not much to the costume itself, just like a white shirt, and I just wore some black pants. This is actually kind of like not that hard of a costume to put together, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video today, and I hope you guys enjoyed my part of my ghost stories. Again, to be continued. So come back tomorrow to hear the rest of my ghost tales and to see tomorrow's costume. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a spooky day. Mwah! Would you like to see something strange? Come with us and you will see.